Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Ted Talks Ball. We've got a Wednesday afternoon edition, Hump Day edition. David McNiner in the house. We've been doing this for a while on Wednesdays. Welcome back. Thanks for being here. How are you doing on this fine hump day?
I'm doing good. I do have a question for the chat though, and this is how sick of the Brandon Ayuk saga are you? Leave it in the comments, or if you're watching afterwards, leave it in the comment. Just let us know. Personally, out of a level 1 to 10, I'm about 10.5 at this point.
If you're asking me as well as the chat, let me give you. It's funny backstage. I was saying we kind of agree on everything, and which actually doesn't really make for the best show. And so, luckily, right here, right off the bat, I have a disagreement, and I'll explain it. Which is, I was sick of all the Brandon Ayuk stuff for the longest time when this has been going on. Kind of like you, like I don't know if that's 10.5, but I was up there high on that 1 to 10 scale for a long time. But now there's actually some real stuff. And so I'm sick of Brandon Ayuk, but the Brandon Ayuk talk I'm not sick about, because like now we're finding out the Niners are like, yeah, we'll trade him. Here's a deal. We set it up. And I never thought it would come to that. I always thought Brandon wanted to be a Niner. Niners wanted Brandon. I never thought it would come to that. So yes, while I'm sick of Brandon Ayuk's antics now, the talk I think is super warranted now. And I think we need to hear what the details are. And honestly, I would say to Brandon Ayuk, stop being a B, because that's what he's doing. He's like, I want more money. Okay, can't get it. I want to trade. Okay, well, here's your trade. He goes, well, I don't want to go. So sign the damn deal. You got no leverage. Now, Brandon, I'm losing a lot of respect for Brandon Ayuk. And so I'm not as sick of the talk, because there's actually something to it now. There's actually deals that have been put together. Then it's not just smoke and conjecture like it was this whole time. Like now there's really some meat and potatoes to this whole thing.
Yes, there is. And then, the Steelers are in it. The Steelers are not back in it. It's like
everyone's in it.
That's the thing, is no one's out of it until he's actually traded, folks.
Everybody needs a Brandon Ayuk. There's not one team. There's not one team that doesn't need Brandon Ayuk, because he's a great receiver and a great blocker.
And Monday I talked to Ty about this. We were live when I said this. Nothing is out of play yet.
No, he
could still stay with us. The Niners could be using these other teams to, gauge Ayuk's actual worth.
I mean, I won't say Ayuk can't stay, but I'm leaning towards him not staying. Now, I think the Niners are ready for him to go. Obviously, if you put the deal in place, you're like, fine, go. Where we've had enough. Yeah. And so for the first time this entire offseason, I'm actually saying if I was going to bet today, I would bet that Brandon Ayuk is not a 49er week 1.
I would also bet that. And the main reason why is today, he walks off the practice field pouting, doesn't talk to anybody. Like, okay, obviously you're frustrated about the whole situation. But when it comes down to it, the Niners made you an offer. You would have been rich. But you want to be you want that extra couple $1 million a season, right?
And certain teams are willing to pay it. It sounds like you were mentioning. Tell us what you were talking about backstage.
Well, the Patriots, it's reported that the Patriots have offered 32 annual average, a year.
Per year.
32 million a year, which is kind of insane. It was reported yesterday that they offered 28.5. So what's reported is correct, I'm not sure. Honestly, I thought he was worth maybe 28.5 on the high end. We've had that discussion, right?
Yeah, you have. That's you and Raj are at the 28.5. I'm a little cheaper. I'm saying 27. but that's probably not realistic. We'll see. And David, both could be true. It could be that the Patriots came at him with the 25. He said, I'm not signing. Maybe he said, all right, I'm just kidding. Here, 32. Whatever it takes, we're going to do it. Because the Patriots really need a Brandon Ayuk. Like I said, everybody needs it. The Patriots need him maybe the most. So, hey, real quick, let's say hi to some folks here. The chat's heating up. I don't want to fall tragically behind here. So, Bebop Jones in the house. He was here a little bit early. Hope you're still here, Bebop. Bebop coming to us from Bethlehem, PA. We got Jimmy in the house saying, what's up, Ted and David? What's up, Jimmy? We've got MVidia 916. So that's like the Sacramento sort of Placerville area code there. Fellas, I don't know what to think anymore. I just want this whole thing resolved. I'm with you there. I like BA needs to stop being a B. That's really what it comes down to at this point. That's where I am with it. And he says, I have a bad feeling the Niners about to get fleeced. I mean, that's sort of what happens in these situations is, you get good offers and then, if then eventually people are just like, they're not going to want to do business with you. We had it happen. Well, I guess I shouldn't talk about it on the air, but just sometimes you can go back and forth too much and then people are like, forget it, I'm out. So, I mean, where they really are out. I don't think anyone really is yet, but it can get to that point where like, I don't want to deal with this guy because he can't make up his mind. He asks for one thing, we give it to him and he says, oh, I don't want that. Yeah, that's not real mature behavior. Got Papa J in the house.
On top of that, he was raised a 49ers fan, right?
Like yeah, he was in Reno.
His mom's a 49ers fan.
Yeah,
so
in Reno, Nevada.
I'd love to talk to her to see how she feels about this situation.
Then he went to Sierra College in Rockland, where the Niners used to have their training camp practices back when men were men and they had 2-a-days and there was no limit on how many days in a row you could practice. For the CBA, the collective bargaining agreement, ruined all that and has slowly ruined football in a lot of ways, but not ruined, but changed in a way that I don't particularly like. Papa Jay's saying,
in my opinion, since that CBA kicked in, they cut out that preseason game, they cut down on practices. The injuries have not slowed down.
No, because
I'm honestly of the opinion that there's more, and I'm going to have to do research to verify that.
Yeah.
I'm of the opinion that there's more because these guys aren't in proper football shape while they're
coming
playing.
In soft.
Yep.
Yeah. Papa J is saying the Brandon saga is as annoying as the T Swizzle saga in Kansas City. I don't know if it's that annoying, but it's up there for sure. Everybody's sick to death of hearing about it. That's for damn sure. Or at least, like I said, we were before there was something to talk about. Now there's actually real stuff to talk about. So you kind of have to hear about it for a little bit here until it gets resolved. Kenny's saying, let's freaking go. Let's go, Kenny. And the Sentinels football channel. Make sure everybody checks him out. Give him a like and subscribe. Say hello there.
If you scroll down a way, Sentinels said a good one that starts out, these sports agents need.
Optic quality control specialist. Brandon's agent should be looking out for his long-term future, not just getting the bag. He gets a bag and then no other team wants him. Yeah, it's like I said, that's what happens when you act like this. You can burn bridges. And it seems like he may have burned one with the Niners, the Patriots, maybe the Steelers. The Browns have been in play, supposedly. Let's see what happens.
Well, when it comes to Brandon Ayuk, I actually found in Monday, someone was on the wiki page, his wiki page, changing the team he played for like every 5 minutes. It was the Chargers, the Panthers, the Steelers. Then it was a pitcher for the LA Dodgers, and then it was the quick quack Ducks of the NFL. It just kept going all over the place. It was entertaining,
No doubt about it. I'm with you. Kenny was saying, wow, I can see them doing it because they really need Ayuk to help with Drake May's development. Yeah. The Patriots are in trouble with Drake May as a young quarterback there. They're going to need a lot of help. Everybody's just saying hi, hello. MVidia say people are saying Brandon has no leverage, but he's creating leverage by saying he only wants to play for Pittsburgh. Patriots offered him top 5 wide receiver money. What does a guy want? Yeah, I mean, he wants top 5 receiver money and a contender is what he wants. And unfortunately, no contender probably needs to pay that or wants to pay that. So he's got to pick. You got to, don't be a B, man. Pick one or the other. You want the money? Go get your money. Go get your bag. You want to contend? You got to take less. It's just that simple. Top teams don't get to be top teams by overpaying wide receivers.
And that's exactly it. You know,
I mean, in fact, the Kansas City Chiefs won a Super Bowl after they let Tyreek Hill walk because he wanted money, and the Dolphins paid him, and look what they've done. 0 playoff wins since they got Tyreek Hill. 0.
That's true. That's true.
So good luck with that, Brandon. Good luck with that. Okay, we're back to that. Okay. Actually, we're pretty much caught up. We got Bebop back in the house. Hopefully that doesn't affect his season. I mean, and you know, Brandon Ayuk's not the only one missing from camp. Let's go down the list. I mean, Trent Williams is missing from camp also. Very different situation there, obviously. Christian McCaffrey missing from camp. He popped his calf. Maybe like I did. I mean, and I did mine 7 weeks ago on the 15th of June. And I'll tell you what, it is still not 100%. And I'm coming into week 8 here. So hopefully after 8 weeks, I mean, I might have gone back to riding a little bit too quickly. I think I started riding bikes about 3 weeks back. But I stayed off the trails and off the pump tracks, the most high risk stuff that I do. And I was riding streets and, you know, beginner trails and, you know, stuff that was, I won't say 0 risk, but extremely low risk. So hopefully CMC's calf isn't too serious. Who else are we missing? Elijah Mitchell. Stop the presses, folks. Elijah Mitchell got injured. It's like, what? Like,
no.
I know. You're never going to believe it. It never happens.
Well, you know, he's out of 51 games in his career, he's played in 26. So I'm
surprised to hear that it's that high, to be honest with you.
That's right. You know, one away from a 50-50 split, right?
Yeah, I'm surprised that it's even that high, to be honest. I think he played some of those dinged up too. So, yeah, Elijah Mitchell's out. I believe Logan Thomas was out today. A big one that, you know, everybody a lot of people, you know, we go to camp. I was there today. I was sitting next to Raj as usual. I had my buddy who got season tickets who gave me the codes that Raj and I use a lot for our training camp.
I'm reading the Sentinel. I hope Juice isn't emotionally damaged.
Sheesh. Holy moly, we're so far behind. All right, well, let me just. So anyway, bottom line, I'm at camp and I lost my whole train of thought. Well, Rohan was there, Steph was there in our row, and Brad Graham was there as well too. But I don't remember what the point of my story was. Well, Ricky Pearsall was out today. That was a bummer. Raj said, "Do you think he'll be out?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I don't think he'll be there," and he wasn't. But still, what I was trying to say was like a lot of the reason why we all go to these training camps is to see the rookies, right? And any new vets that are on the team, like Devondre Campbell, who's now been. I was really bullish on him. He's been named linebacker too. Happy about that. Also, another one to talk about from camp was Isaac Yadom. A week ago on Wednesday, my buddy was there with me as well, my season tickets buddy, Aggie. And he noticed that Isaac Yadom was the first one out. And I think he was kind of huffed this year. I think of the 10 open practices, I think he was the first one on the field, maybe 7 out of 10 days. Today it was actually Brendan. What's our center's name? I'm blanking on his name.
Brendel?
Jake Brendel. Yeah, not Brendan, but Jake Brendel.
Way.
He was the first on the field, and then Luter was right after him, but Brendel was officially the first one out. But anyway, my buddy was really into that. He was like, you know, I was always the first one out to my high school practices. He played at center at Sarah High before Tom Brady got there, and then he actually coached Brady some when Brady was there a few years later. And he's like, I always try to be first one, so I hope this guy does well. And sure enough, maybe that day or the next day, there was a report saying Isaac Yadom is looking, at least back then, was looking like CB3, taking Ambry Thomas's position. So it'd be like Mooney Ward, Dalmador Lenore, and then Isaac Yadam, and that can change, especially with preseason, if there's any kind of injuries or whatever. But it was cool to see that he was doing well, and when my buddy was rooting for him for being first out on the field, that type of thing. Maybe what I'll do is like pop down to the bottom and work my way up. You think? Everybody's just saying hi. Let's see here. I'm going to do it that way just because otherwise I'm pretty sure I'll never get caught up. Papa J says 49ers are playing Moneyball. They know how much he's worth in Pittsburgh. Yeah, he's worth a lot to them. He'd be good with Kenny Pickett or what's that his name? George Pickens, and Kenny Pickett, Small Hands Pickett. And no, but it's not him anymore. It's Russ and maybe Fields, right? But anyway, bottom line, with George Pickens, with Freiermuth, with Ayuk, that's a pretty powerful three-way group of skills position folks, and they have some decent running backs as well too. Kid out of Alabama.
Well, either way, no matter where he gets traded, it's not going to be the 49ers, right?
Right.
The teams we're talking to, the Cleveland Browns, Deshaun Watson has underperformed.
Yeah.
You got Pittsburgh with Russell Wilson, who has not looked good in a couple seasons since leaving Seattle, and Justin Fields. Then you got the rookie QB with the Patriots, Drake May. So he's he's hopping in the boat and paddling out to some muddy waters, right?
Yeah, no doubt. Bebop says Fred said Breida looked just as fast. Breida is super fast. Breida the cheetah, he's back. He was there at practice. I was kind of hoping we kind of put him in bubble wrap and save him for the season because it was never speed that was a problem with Breida. It was always durability. He had those ankle sprains, if I recall correctly, that really plagued him a lot, and high ankle sprains. And ultimately, we're pretty thin at running back if you think about it. CMC's out at least till the regular season. They're saying he won't play in preseason. Garendo was already hurt before that. And obviously, the rookie out of Mizzou is doing well.
Chad Schrader?
Cody Schrader, yeah.
Cody Schrader.
Yep. He's doing real well. But then, obviously, we just talked about Elijah Mitchell is injured. So it's really just J.P. Mason and Schrader and whoever we're picking up, I guess, Breida. And I wouldn't be surprised if we pick up another running back just to have some – camp bodies, especially. So anyway, Kenny's saying he loves his job. Why ruin it? Makes sense. Take a pay cut to play football. Okay, I'm rich already. Why not? Yeah, it's ego for these guys. It's just like Trent Williams. I mean, come on, he's rich, but he's the best offensive lineman. He wants to be paid as such. And he's got the leverage. We have no tackles, guys. We have McKivitz and Jalen Moore. That's not who you want to go on this season.
Parker and what's that? What's that other guy? Hurd?
Oh God, I don't know. Just don't remind me. Just sign Trent Williams. Get it done. Don't even think twice. There's zero leverage for the 49ers in that situation. And they set it up for themselves that way. We this 6-year deal that's really 2 3-year deals. All the 3-year deals up. He performed. He has every right to ask for more money, and the Niners set it up that way. So it gave us outs, but it gave him ins. So I really hope Shanahan gives Jordan Mason more snaps this season. He deserves it. Yeah, I think he just really needs to. We saw him working on the jugs machines there. Not today, but might have been the first day I went to camp, that Thursday, or it was last Wednesday. He was working on it. I've never seen somebody work on the jugs like point blank, like where he was like kneeling. I'm like, oh, it must be a D lineman, because like D linemen, they're always, their hands are up and they just have to catch a ball almost by feel and it zips over the O line. And I was like, oh, it must be D line. I'm like, no, it's Jordan Mason. I'm like, oh, damn, shows what I know. Hey, we got Jess in the house, East Coast Run Gold. Make sure you check them out at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 Eastern tonight. I always have great for regular folks and great guests as well too. I guess it was Terror Dome last week. So always good times with Hugh for sure. And Jess was here on Saturday at least. I saw her get a picture with Kittle, so that was awesome. Good job, Jess. She is a ninja at catching those guys at the hotel, at the bar, the elevator, or wherever they go. Jess is not far behind. He can mark my words on that one. See here. Sentinel says, I hope Juice isn't emotionally damaged from John Lynch. Juice looked really good today. Kittle and Juice both looked really good. So he's not showing it in training camp. I'll just say that. He made some nice catches, some nice moves.
Juice knows it's easy money, so I wouldn't mind taking a pay cut if I was making money that easy too, you know?
Well, and he said that the fact that his wife's named Kristen, doing all her design work with all these cool jersey jacket things, her making a mint doing that took a little sting out of him making a little less on his salary. So they're still whole, folks. Don't worry. They didn't get much poorer, it doesn't sound like. So that's good. Or in that case, I would say less wealthy because they're already wealthy. Or rich. I guess that's the distinction, right, between rich and wealthy. I'd say they're rich. So wealthy is when you're an owner paying the players, probably. Then you're wealthy, super wealthy. That's good info. Is Juicy Camp? Oh, absolutely, Juicy Camp. He was definitely there today. Kittle was there today. Debo was there today. Oh, Chris Conley, catch of the day, really deep, but came up a little gimpy afterwards. So keep an eye out for Chris Conley on the injury report. I would be surprised if he plays Saturday, not because he's a starter, but because I think he'll be on an injury designation. Nothing. I think he's hurt. I don't think he's injured. But yeah, we'll see. Ayuk is adamant they only play for an AFC team. Or not. I like it, Steve-O. That's good. It's witty. Give us your ideal trade packages. I don't think we talked about that.
Have we talked about that? I don't think we have.
No.
You know, a lot of people are throwing the Cleveland Browns and Amari Cooper in the mix. I would be okay with that for a season, you know?
I don't want Amari Cooper.
I mean, I wouldn't.
I mean, I guess just to get something back, I get it. But if I'm – go ahead, though. You talk first.
Well, he's a good fourth option, you know? Shout out to Ayuk for saying he's the fourth option. He's a good fourth option, honestly. Right?
He might, yeah, but take over for Kittle or yeah. But
I mean, when it comes down to it, there's talks that it's only draft picks, and it's like, no, I'm not happy with that. You know, like when it comes to the Steelers, they got one of the best top two centers in the draft. You know, they got one of the tackles that I think was in the top 5 or 6 tackles in the draft. So it's like, all right,
give me a trade a draft. And you wouldn't trade a lot for a guy who's just drafted because there's too much risk of busting.
That's it. That's exactly it. I'm not saying player for player. I'm saying include, maybe Zach Zinter, the center. We need a center. We have a young quarterback. Why not get a young center to grow with him and, be here for his career, right?
Yeah.
And then, or, the left tackle for Washington, which he wasn't a blindside tackle, because remember, their quarterback was left-handed. So Rostengarten was the blindside tackle on the right side. But we could get Fontenot, I don't think they're going to give up Fontenot, though, because he was a first-round pick.
Yeah.
So maybe get like Zach Zinter and like a second. There you go. There's a package.
Right? What about he's on the PUP, so that's I don't know when he's coming off of that, if that will be to start the season, but right tackle Jack Conklin is a name that because I said all off season, like if we're gonna trade Ayuk, I may not want a receiver for him back. I might rather have a right tackle or, like you said, a center. I think those are bigger needs for us. So,
especially with Jake Brindle, I mean, how many times has he been on the field so far?
Yeah, and I know he had a horrific knee injury, and running backs are undervalued in the NFL anymore. But if Chubb could be Chubb of old, I mean, can you imagine having CMC and Chubb as your two-headed monster in the backfield. I mean, that would be incredible for Kyle Shanahan. Incredible.
I don't hate that thought.
Yeah. And
that was
certainly
a
a lot
pretty
cheaper.
horrific injury, though. I mean,
It was, yeah. So you can't guarantee anything like that. Another player off the Browns I would look at, but probably he might be too expensive or, too valuable to them would be JOK, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, and linebacker isn't necessarily a need for us if Dre Greenlaw does come back 100%. And then I would look at like Grant Delpit, their safety. I don't think Greg Newsome is good enough. Their corner. Emerson Martin Jr., their other corner, I don't think he's young. I think he's actually pretty good, but I don't think he's going to command that kind of gravity in the trade market, that kind of comp. So let me scoot down to the bottom again. This looks like I'm way behind.
Sentinel's asking, has anyone noticed how swollen Brock has gotten? Now,
swole. Yeah, I said Brock and swole.
Yeah. So, if you think about it, last year he had to take it easy because he's recovering from a surgery, right?
Yeah. So
this year, now he can, really work on it, get his NFL body, so to speak, and come into camp in the best shape of his life, and that's what we're seeing right now. And when it comes down to it, the guy's got some wheels. So add some muscle to those wheels, and that's going to be a problem for the opposing defense.
The only problem was he needed to use the wheels today because his protection was trash. So he only had a couple good completions today, and one of them wasn't by him anyway.
Is it the protection's trash, or is our D-line that good?
No, it's the protection. It was no Trent Williams. No. Hey, look. I speak Terradone's name and he appears. What do you know? He must have heard me.
There he is.
Says, what up, folks? I'll just go through his real quick. And then he said the Sentinel Football Channel. He said we need tackles. We do need tackles.
Yes, we do.
Especially that's the whole thing with this Trent Williams. Is we got zero leverage with Trent Williams because we got no plan B. He said protect the assets. Absolutely. After them picks. Absolutely. If you block and protect, everything else is superstar. Anyone is a superstar. Block. Yeah. No, I mean, it definitely makes you look bad. And that's what I was trying to say. Someone at camp today was saying, oh, Justin Fields, he's no good. I'm like, I think he's TBD. I think until you see him with a decent O-line and some decent weapons. I mean, when what's his bucket, Mooney is your best receiver and you got no O-line, I forget that guy's name. Gerald Mooney? No, something like that. Darnell Mooney. That's his name. The Bears wide receiver. We just really haven't seen what he can do. And also, you got, Eberflus as your head coach. He's a defensive-minded head coach. I don't think they ever had a good OC. And they certainly had no weapons and no protection. So, preach. Hugh knows about that for sure. I think that's his nickname is the Preacher. So I learned it from you, Hugh. Absolutely. So let me go start at the bottom and work my way up here. So Kenny saying, John J, hello. Sentinel saying we'll never need an O-line if we play Bill Vinovich. Oh, it's true. Just hold. But only if you're the team they're letting hold. That's the thing. It's not just Vinovich as the ref. It's Vinovich as the ref, but you forgot the key piece, Sentinel. You got to have Mahomes as your quarterback. Then they don't call the holds. If it's Brock, I doubt he gets that same consideration. At least right now in his career. Maybe if he, does a lot more. But as of right now, Brock's just a NFC Championship loser, which I get he got injured. And now Super Bowl loser. That's his resume. And so it's hard to think that the NFL is just going to be like, oh, we're going to turn you into our new darling when Patrick Mahomes is around. That's the sad truth. But we'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's good enough that he can turn the tide on his own. If he can keep improving like he did last year, anything's possible. With the swole, Brock and swole, if he plays as much better as he's beefed up, then hey, you never know. Maybe he does become the new darling. steal the crown from Patty Mahomes. I don't know. Just pop in to hit the like button. Oh, thanks, Niner Fanatic. We appreciate that.
John Jay.
Yeah, make sure you check out his channel too. Give him a like and subscribe. Pooney time. Yeah. Pooney has looked good, but I mean at guard. I don't think he's gonna be a tackle anytime soon, if ever.
Well, he played tackle in college.
Yeah.
So, if we get desperate, right?
Well, if he was playing against college DNs, yeah, maybe, but not in the NFL. Edge players are built different in the NFL. But I don't know. It's like I said, it's not impossible. I don't consider him a backup plan for Trent Williams just yet. Papa J saying, if you think about it, our number one receiver is the fourth option. That means Brock had to go through his progression to get to him. What if he's not there anymore? Well, then it means that those other guys come up sooner in the progressions, more than likely, or somebody else fills in. Maybe Ricky Pearsall can fill in and do a reasonable job of what Ayuk did, but he's got to get healthy. Ricky Pearsall now has been injured twice in camp already, so that's not good. And they're not even hitting yet, or not, at least not hitting hard, not tackling. So
yeah, that's a big concern. There's that one guy we drafted that looked really good until he never hit the field. Jalen Hurd, right?
Yeah,
remember that guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh God. But Jalen Hurd had the whole track record of being injured. Ricky Pearsall, to my knowledge, didn't have a lot of injuries at Florida. So hopefully that's just some random stuff from coming into the NFL, and he'll get it figured out. Brock gets better if you protect him. Absolutely. Brock looks like he's on that Nick Bosa 97 system. Yeah. Some what's it? Adderall and steroids or something. I mean, I'm sure Nick Bosa would never do that. So. But okay, we've been through Hugh's comments. I'm gonna just keep going up to everyone else's though, real quick. Did anybody else? Okay, there we go. That's what we've been talking about. You guys aren't gonna get Fontenot, and you will
Zach
not.
Frazier. Okay, that was the center they got.
Yeah, we were lamenting today how we could have had, Wirfs instead of Kinlaw, and we could have had Penei Sewell instead of Trey Lance, and my buddy Aggie was just like, Lynch and Shanahan, they don't value offensive line enough. Doesn't matter if they're there, we're not going to take them. We're going to take somebody else. And I was kind of like, yeah, it's kind of true. I hope they change their tune with Brock Purdy now. They've already sort of changed their a little, because it was always run, and you can pass play, fine, great. That's an added bonus. Now it seems almost like they flipped, where they're like, pass protect. Oh, and if you can run block some, that's fine. That's great. That's added, little whipped cream on top, cherry on top, whatever you want to call it on your Sunday. So,
or maybe they've discovered throughout the years of drafting run blocking, offensive linemen, that it's easier to teach run blocking to a pass protector than it is pass protection to a run blocker.
Ooh, yes.
Right?
Yeah, both can be true. Absolutely. Yeah. Love it. How's our number one wide receiver fourth option? I never understood that. Because he's the most purely polished wide receiver, but he's not the biggest threat with the ball in his hands. And so that's the thing. If you can just get Debo the ball somewhere in the field, just let him run through people. He doesn't run as good a routes. He doesn't have as good a hands, but get him the ball and he's going to wreck people. And more importantly, when you wrecks people, it just gets the team fired up. It's an emotional sport, and it gets the emotion, like blood flowing and juices flowing, and people fired up and ready to go hit people themselves. It's contagious. And so that's the thing. That's the Debo factor that's hard to quantify on a stat sheet. It's an emotional thing. It says great 80s t-shirt. It said, must be me, because yours isn't a t-shirt, but I love McNiner's shirt with the tie and the no sleeves.
No sleeves. Yeah.
He did such a good job cutting them off. You can't even see any strings or nothing. It's like, look.
Yeah, I actually did this right on the seam just so it would, stay together better.
Yeah, right? It looks like you bought it that way. Honestly, it looks good. Says, show me your assets. Yeah. See, Steve said you can trade draft picks for players this year. I mean, you can do it any year, but we usually don't. I'd like to see it. If we're really all in and we're really doing well at the trade deadline, I'd love to see us pull, a Rams, right? Where they went ahead and they got OBJ at was it he was a trade or was he a signing? He was a signing because he was
They
hurt.
signed him because he was like
But
coming back.
They traded for Von Miller.
That's right.
And they traded for the running back, who was nothing special. But like when all their running backs,
Patriots, I don't remember his name.
When all their running backs were injured, that one guy was there to get them through the middle of the season and keep them in playoff contention. So he was actually a really important trade for them. So Kane says I shook hands. Kids are weird today. It's thumb grab like before you want to arm wrestle. We're kind of out of the conversation here. So maybe what I'll
and Jess right at the end makes a statement.
Oh, dap. We dap. It's like you kind of go like this, isn't it? Like you bump elbow. Yeah, that's dapping it up, right? Yeah. You don't need an Urban Dictionary. Oh, usually I do. So I'm not going to pretend like I'm hip or anything. Just sometimes I get it right every now and then. I saw him walk there. Oh, here, I'll put it up.
Yeah, Jess just made the statement of the show. Whatever happens with BA, it just needs to end.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember when there was that handshake and Raj filmed it and he's like, everybody's saying it's because the deal's done. I'm like, I don't think the deal's done, man. And sure enough, it sure wasn't.
Honestly, believe the Niners side of the deal is probably worked out, And look what's been going on with BA. He's they don't want me anymore. They're not paying me what I want. They don't want me. It's not we don't want you. It's we don't think you're worth what you're asking is what's going on there, BA. But at this point, now it's on BA's side. So, and the Niners aren't going to pull the trigger until he has a contract negotiation done. So it's like, the way he walked off the field today, not talking to anyone, kind of pouting, it's like right now the ball's in your court. So, if you're going to be mad at someone, you best be calling your agent, right?
Yeah, no doubt about it. NVIDIA has a question from training camp. Is Ronnie the Bull Bell doing well? Yeah, he's been doing really well. Really, really well. He was one of the days I was there, he was kind of the receiver of the day, I would say. So he's been doing real well, including today. Danny who did? Yeah, I don't know. I think Danny Gray is more bubblicious than ever, unfortunately for him. And unfortunately for him being a third-round draft pick, but maybe he can crack the team on special teams somehow because of the new, kick return format.
We still have the rest of preseason to go. He's got a couple weeks to make a niche for himself, right?
But it looked like Debo was out there today doing quite a bit of that kick return on this new format. And I think he'll be hard to stop with everybody spread out the way they are in a thin line.
The new kick return rules.
I think Debo is going to feast on that. So,
hey, that's what I've been saying is how they're lining up. Those guys aren't going to be able to, come in waves.
Yeah,
because they're lined up single.
Yeah, right? I think I saw Cowing. So you basically have to just break one or two tackles and you're gone. And exactly. I think I saw Cowing today doing some of those returns too. And Trent Taylor, of course. I just refuse to believe that he'll make the team in any other fashion but the Buddy fashion. But let's face it, folks, the Niners have Buddy roster spots. We've seen it before. We've seen it with Nick Zakel. as Brock Purdy's roommate. I don't know why else he's on the team, but he's Purdy's roommate. We saw it, I think, with Trent Taylor before being Kittle's buddy, so maybe that'll be back. And don't forget, who's the other buddy? Oh, I found this one out today. Guess who works out with Fred Warner all off season and is his like workout buddy and best buds? DFF, who he's decent. Really? He's decent, but I mean, I think if he's on the bubble, like that's just the thing that keeps him on the team. So, and I'm like, okay, so we got 3 roster spots for buddies, and then maybe not Trent Taylor, but Zakel and DFF definitely were on the team last year. And then we are paying Trey Lance, or we're paying $5-6 mil this year. Like, how many roster spots can we give up for buddies and players that are gone? That's not a roster spot, but it's money, whatever. Before, like, you're not a contender anymore. That's my question. Like, what's your limit on buddies?
Well, hey, at this point, who's LB2? I've been hearing a lot of talk about D Winters.
No. They said Devondre Campbell is definitely LB2, but D Winters is LB3 for base downs. So when it's just nickel, it's going to be Fred and Devondre Campbell. Absolutely. Nick Sorensen said that.
I mean, other than that, we have Jalen Graham and the new guy Bethune.
Yeah, but D Winters is looking really good. Right? That's as of today. That doesn't mean that by week 1 that D Winters can't win the spot, David. So Raj, who's been there more than me, was definitely saying D Winters has been flying around and making plays. So never know. Maybe he does take it. I think they'll just lean towards a veteran, but I wouldn't be surprised to see D Winters take over midseason or third of the way into the season.
I honestly want D Winters to take that LB2 spot, and a lot of reason is because he can fly around. He runs a 4.49 40. He's a fast linebacker. So having his speed out there, right? Having his speed out there to help cover a tight end, that's going to be very good.
Yeah, there you go. Sentinel says meritocracy versus Cabo click. Yeah, you don't know Kyle Shanahan. No, but I'm with you. It should be a meritocracy in a perfect world, but unfortunately, this is a Kyleocracy, folks. This is not a meritocracy. I think last year's camp proved that, where Trey Lance was way better than Sam Darnold, and we kept Sam Darnold anyway. Kyleocracy. So
no, there's Spongy.
And also there's also politics around Trey Lance and Darnold. This probably was the smart thing to do, I'll be honest. It probably was, especially the way things worked out where, Purdy didn't get hurt and he improved so much during the year. Not only improved from where he was in camp, but improved from where he was in 2022, which was 22 was way better than last year's camp. Purdy was not good in camp last year. So why have a sport if you're not competing to be the best? Well, to make money. That's why some owners don't even spend their whole salary cap. They actually have to make a minimum cap amount. Like if the cap's like 240 or 45, whatever it is this year, 50. They're like, well, you actually have to spend 210 of it, folks. You can't just go and spend 150 out of 250 because some owners would do that. They're just like, sorry, folks, this is what you get. You can,
or if they're rebuilding, they have no stars, right?
Yeah,
but they are required to spend most of the salary cap. So,
not to change the subject, did you see Larry? Steve-O is stirring up the pot. I saw Larry from afar today. I didn't go say hi because it was already kind of like deep against the rope. There was already a bunch of fans sitting by the ropes today. But I did see Larry the first Thursday that I went. I think it's the 25th of July, the first open training camp. And I was with Raj, and Raj was talking to Larry. And I just reached over and shook his hand. And he kind of looked at me at first. He was like, all right. And he shook my hand. And so, I think it's water under the bridge with us. And let's face it, like, what grudge could I have against Larry? He was right. Brock Purdy, he said Brock Purdy is an emerging talent, blah, 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 all this stuff. I thought the stuff that Purdy eventually did in the NFC Championship, I thought only Trey Lance would be able to make two safeties play deep because of a deep threat, and one of the guys left in the box spy him to take them out of the play too. I never thought Brock Purdy could do that, and so he did, and that's about all I can ask for from a quarterback. So I'm happy with Brock Purdy, and I would tell, if it came up, I would tell Larry the same thing to his face. He was right, I was wrong. Move on. I just didn't like it when he said it, when he called me out on his show, and and at the time it wasn't quite as obvious yet. It was earlier in the season, but whatever. I'm just, hey, I'm glad he knows my name. I'm glad he knows who I am. He's a big guy. I'm just a little guy, so I can't get too, worried about beefs and gripes and stuff. Although I may have started one today. I won't say which content creator, but I've been bad mouthing this guy forever, saying that he's not helpful to the little guys and never would collaborate. But then always when I'd see him, I'd be like, oh, hi, blah, blah, blah. Nice to see you, and shake his hand. And today, I guess I can't really talk too much about it because I may have mentioned him already in the show. But I'll just say that I didn't go hi, and I just said hi to the person next to them and walked right by them and invisible them. And I was like, saying to Rod, I'm like, what am I worried about? Like, the guy's never helped me. What's he going to pull the help that he's never given me? I'm like, I'm tired of sucking up to this guy. So I didn't. I absolutely ghosted him. And it felt damn good to sort of, I tend to be that way in my life, like very, not passive aggressive, just aggressive, just, be myself and don't apologize. And it felt wrong to like talk trash about somebody behind their back and then like smile and shake their hand. And so I didn't smile or shake his hand. Anyway, I won't mention anymore, but it felt great. What else? So we got, there we go. You're welcome, Jess, anytime. The agent really screwed Brennan, be able to get his money. Yeah, no, I think his agent's done him a real disservice by not stepping in sooner and just saying, it's okay to do a little bit here and there, but it was too much. There was just too much. He liked the limelight because he's never had it, and he kind of let it go to his head, I think, unfortunately, which is natural for people. I mean, that's a natural reaction, but it's good to have somebody in your camp who's like, hey, put down the Instagram, bro. Like, turn the camera off. Like, shut the F up. You don't need to hear every little thought that goes through your head. Anyway. Boom.
Well, I'm kind of the same way. It's like someone wrongs me. It's like, oh, well, it's their bad. One of these days they might need me. You never know, right?
Sentinel says if we could do BA for Mayer from the Raiders, because they got two tight ends now all of a sudden, right? They got Mayer last year, and then this year they got the kid Bowers, right? Brock Bowers from Georgia. So they've got like two incredibly high ranking, like number one, number two tight ends in their class. I mean, I think Mayer was even higher ranked than Laporta, but just Laporta took off faster with the Lions.
Yeah.
But they were like the two top tight ends of that class. I mean, I personally would be down. I don't think the 49ers would consider that adequate compensation for Ayuk, but he's on a rookie deal. So, like, I mean, God, if he can block and catch, you know how long I've been praying for that. Another tight end like Kittle who can block and catch. I would give almost anything for that. Definitely I would give BA for it, especially on the cheap deal.
Good evening.
Down below. All right, let me pop down.
But yeah, I mean, at this point, it's camp. It's camp. There's some battles going on. Yeah. Steve-O actually asked a good question earlier. How do you get to the stadium if you park far away? I'm not sure, Steve-O, because when I went, shout out to Jess for giving me that ticket and Bryant for having me at his house and with his family. That was awesome. We got to park in the employee parking for the stadium. So we just had to walk across the street and up that long walk from the street up to the stadium, So I'm not sure if they might have shuttle buses from certain parking lots though.
Interesting.
Right.
Yep. Here's a little Sponge here. He says he's out. Well, thanks for stopping by, Sponge, if you're still watching or if you rewatch. No, that was a terrific opportunity for you to get to go to the gold mine, to meet. You got to meet Steve Young. He's on your Twitter banner, and that's awesome.
Got to meet Bashar, Laura Cat before she passed,
R.I.P. Laura Cat.
Actually, Lee Gowland from 49ers UK, Faithful UK, was there. Got to meet
Lee
him.
is a great guy. Yeah, I met him at the gold mine for the Bucks game. And we've obviously done a lot of shows together. He's awesome.
Jess, Bex, and Ty from East Coast Red and Gold were all there. You know,
I got to meet
Maddie. Maddie couldn't make it.
I'm a frequent gold mine visitor. Ty's been at least twice, so good for him. That's
sweet.
Cool. Yeah, and John Chapman was there too when I went. So that we were the only and John brought a buddy, but there were 3 British or U.S. content creators and like 35 Brits and John Chapman's buddy. That was fun.
Yeah, while I was out there, this is after the game, I got to meet, the day after the game, I met Beto, 906, met him.
Nice.
I met John Jay, I think he changed his name to the Niner Fanatic. It was 49ers Ultimate Report.
Yeah. That's how I remember it.
So Corey Davis, before he passed, and that was the night of the Philly game, folks, December 13th, 2023. We all went out for breakfast and hung out, Bryant, me, and those guys. Yep. It was great.
It sounds like Sentinel didn't know that Larry and I had beef. Oh yeah, Larry blocked me and then he unblocked me, and oh yeah, there was all kinds of beef last season with me and Larry for sure. I said it all started out when I said something about, and I think they were talking about Trey Lance being traded, and I was like, oh, that's just bull. They're not, the Adam Schefter's clickbait. He's like, no, they're not clickbait. And yeah, I mean, he was right. I guess
sure enough, a 4th round pick to the Cowboys.
Yeah, so I guess he was right twice. Then Larry 2, Ted 0. So there you go. Yeah, I never liked Spencer Wagey though, so I got that one on him. And I'm calling Drake Nugent Spencer Wagey 2.0. So until he proves me wrong, Drake Nugent is the center from Michigan. Is whatever. There was something else. Oh, Papa J's. And that's big of you to admit that, Ted. Narcissistic Grant would never do that. I mean, I think I've heard Grant admit when he's wrong. I could swear I had. I feel like he's pretty good with his stuff though. So, but if you feel that way, that's fine. I just think Grant, he fills a void, a vacuum. Every team has a hater, content creator or journalist that is anti the team and takes the negative side and says the coach is dumb and says that assumes that every move is bad until proven otherwise. And a lot of teams have more than one, but every team has at least one. And so he fills that niche. And it's just like Grant is super negative, and you got David Lombardi is super positive, Homer, you got the hater Homer. And I always like to say it's a lot like Fox News and CNN. They're both very polar. And if you want the truth, you kind of watch them both and draw a line down the middle. And that's probably where the truth lies. And I feel like the same thing about our major news outlets. So yeah, I mean, I think they fill needs for people that are out there, and at least he's entertaining, Grant. And but I know he's not everybody's cup of tea. I said it to somebody out at training camp, another content creator. I was like, I blocked that guy a long time ago. I was like, wow, I didn't realize. All right, so he definitely rubs some people the wrong way. But for me, I like to hear all different viewpoints, and then I kind of take a little bit of everything and make that into my own. I don't have any sources. I think it'd be tough to have sources because it's like, what's going on. Because I was talking to someone today who does have sources, and it's like, oh yeah, I knew this, I knew that, and I'm like, oh man, it must be so tempting to tell. But I guess you can't tell, because if you do, then you burn your source, and then you don't have a source anymore because the team official won't talk to that person anymore if they know that, the information came from them to you. So anyway, interesting to see how all that stuff goes. Every team has a Nick Right. Yeah, they do. They all have one. I like to call him Nick Wrong, but especially just because he's such a Warriors hater. But and now he's a Brock Purdy hater. He just hates the little guys. He hates Steph. He hates Brock. I guess you got to be a big LeBron or I don't know. Oh, he's a Chiefs fan, right? So he's Patrick Mahomes. He's just a front.
Is he? Oh, hold on. How long has he been a Chiefs fan?
Isn't he from Kansas City or something?
Well, I mean, if he's a lifer, okay.
Cleveland,
there's no problem. But if he just hopped on the bandwagon, then
I'm sure he did. I'm sure he is a bandwagon. He's not from Kansas City. I don't know. Whoever knows, listen. I'm not a Nick Right, Nick Wrong expert, but yeah.
There it is. 30 minutes. East Coast Red and Gold, folks. Don't forget to tune in.
Yeah, no doubt. I'd be surprised if Grant and Dave created this fake rivalry behind the scenes to keep it civil. I don't think it's at all. No, I think no, man, because I mean, I know some of these guys, and I know the one I know of is real. And because sometimes it has to do with money. Sometimes these guys are taking money out of each other's pockets with the stuff they do to each other. And so, no, I think, I mean, it could be. I mean, I was saying to Dave McNiner backstage, we typically agree on most everything. And then I'm thinking to myself, that typically doesn't make for the best shows to always agree. Sometimes it's good to have disagreement. And that's not why I disagreed early in the show. I just actually disagreed. I think it is pertinent to hear about what's going with BA now that there's really.
Hey, you've watched me and Bryant, right?
Yeah.
Me and him disagree a lot.
Speaking of Bryant, his name came up at camp today because they get done with the drills and then they start kicking field goals, and they always start close to the uprights, and then right behind the uprights is a fence, and there's the road that. Last year, the shuttles went up the road to get you around Levi's within the property. This year, for some other reason, they're going out and around. It takes a little bit longer to get back to your car. But the first 2 or 3 kicks all go over the fence and into the road. And I was like, I should go grab one of those balls. I was like, maybe I'll bring it back and see if Moody Signagras get him to sign it, And someone said something, and I was like, yeah. And then no doubt I'd have to give it to Brian Culp, because he is the biggest Moody fan I know, Jake Moody. So, yeah.
He might even put a shelf up behind him. Well, he was rearranging last time he did a podcast, but he might even put a shelf up behind him just to put it on there,
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all. Frame. I get one of those glass. I actually have a glass case for this football here, but when I put it in the glass case, it's so low, and you just can't even see it. So I never actually used it for a show, but that'd be awesome. So if we can get a Jake Moody football, let's get it to Brian Culp. I think that would make
one of my friends, and they haven't got it to me yet. That's why it's not on a hanger on the wall behind me. But I have a 1989 Joe Montana jersey. One of my friends snagged it and was like, "Hey," they're not even an NFL fan though, but they snagged it and they're like, "Hey, I had you in mind when I saw that." I was like, sweet. But, they just haven't had the time to bring it to me yet. But, yeah, the plan is to put something in the wall over here. I'm going to have it hanging right there.
Nice. I love it. Sounds good. Steve says he's been blocked by Grant 20 times. He can't block me in person on the 18th. LOL. I don't know. It sounds like an evil laugh to me. Steve is everything okay there, bro? He's like, you can't block me on the 18th. Was that a home game, Steve-O?
Should walk right up to Grant and be like, "Hi, Grant. I'm Steve-O," and watch him just start sweating.
I was like last year when I walked up to Mike Silver, and I was like, "Hey, Mike Silver, big fan." Shake his hand while I'm holding his hand. I'm like, Ted H6. He's like, I'm like, "Yeah, you just blocked me." And he's like, anyway, he's like, "Oh, we were saying things that were derogatory about me," blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, I promise if you unblock me, I'll be nicer. And he's like, all right, I'll do it right. What you're at. And I gave it to him. And he did it right there. I was like, damn. And I have been nicer. So I just don't comment on this stuff anymore. I'm not going to like pull any punches. I'm just not going to comment. It's the only way I can be nice. Gotta love David. Got to be under the spectrum of talent covering the 49ers. He does a great job with all the stats. Everybody else just feeds off each other and talks S. Absolutely. It's nice to rise above for sure. Hello to Sentinels football. Everybody's just saying hi. David and Grant are secretly a WD of the Niners. Yeah, it could. Unless you're on the inside, unless you know, you don't know. But I mean, I'm telling you, my gut says it's real. They're just very different, and they each are kind of the kings of their. Lombardi's the king homer, and Grant's the king hater, and it could be for sure. They could go more and above, but I think there's some natural dislike to begin with. The Ravens are favored in the Super Bowl. Trey's about to go down. Interesting. Are the Ravens favored? Wow, that's kind of surprising. McNiner, you got to be the McMahon of all this. Let's get ready. Oh, that's not McMahon. That's Buffer.
Dude, you kidding? Let's put those two in a cage and some tights. That would be entertainment. That
would be. I'd pay. They're both kind of tall and skinny, but Lombardi's much taller. I think Lombardi's like 6'6", 6'5". He's real tall. Grant's like 6'2", I think, maybe 6'1". But they're both thin and tall-ish. We all thought wrestling was a real entertainment. Trying to us, it's ultimate homers, ultimate contrarian, social media. Yeah, no, I mean, like I said, unless you're on the inside, you're on the outside, so you don't really know unless you know. Dan Barry Sports Highlights in the house. He's saying what's up. You're a little bit late, but you're here still in time. He's a Rams fan. But he's pretty cool. He also has his own channel, so check him out. Sentinel says, "Oh my God, I'm not sure what that's about. I'm going to be the heckler." Maybe it was Steve-O. I'm going to be the heckler in his video. LOL. You gotta get back into the bowels of Levi's where he walks around after games. I think it's only press and special folks back there. The mute button on Twitter is my go-to. Sometimes you just have to block somebody to teach them a lesson. I'm not referring to this situation with you and Mike Silver. There you go. No, it was with Mike Silver. It was like he was being shitty with me, and I was like replying with stuff I'd seen at camp, and he just kept being shitty with me. And so finally I was like shitty back to him one time, and he blocked me. I'm like, oh, that's lame. All this time I was taking his guff, and one time I stood up for myself, and it's like, done. One is a chess player, the other is a band member. Battle of the Nerds. That's for sure. Yeah, like Grant with the old school high school wrestling outfit and the helmet that protects his ears. That would be funny. I'd pay to see that for sure. Kind of like the old Russian cosmonaut soft helmets that they wore inside of their spacesuits. David would kick his butt. David swims by the bay. Grant. David does swim. He swims in the bay. He swims in aquatic park. I've seen him do it at least on video. So that is not Tommy Huxley in the house. It would be Tommy if he came in nice. He's saying, "Hey, fairies," even though he misspelled it. Fairs. Ain't no Lilith fair.
But we know what he means.
We know. Always derogatory, but in a loving way. I choose to believe it's in a loving way. I think Tommy just got a new gig, if I recall correctly, from a few shows back. So congrats on the new gig. I hope it's still going well. You must have said something referring to his newspaper's paywall. No, it really wasn't. It was really just like I felt like I was right, and I said it in a snotty way after him saying it snotty 5 or 6 times in a row. And it really wasn't anything like derogatory or he said that brought his journalistic integrity into question, I think was the exact words he used. And I definitely did not do that. It was just banter. It was just like, it's sort of like, I think I asked him how many practices he had been to. And because I had been to all of them, all the open practices. And or I said I'd been, I don't know, whatever it was. He was like acting like I hadn't been there. And I'm like, actually, I have. So, what are you watching something different than me? I guess maybe that was calling his journalistic integrity into question. He's easily found. We don't subscribe to his newspaper. There you go. Yeah, I'm definitely not subscribed to his newspaper, so that could be my affront to him. Tommy Huxley.
Well, he's not getting money if you're not subscribed to the newspaper, right?
I'll try and do it, but Bash and Aaron do it better. They've known him longer. I just try to imitate them a little. Oh, there we go. Sentinel's giving it back. Mike Silver and Tim Kawakami. Oh, Tim Kawakami blocks on it. I mean, I know better than to even disagree with Tim Kawakami because he just blocks on a hair trigger. He is like the easiest guy to get blocked by, I think, out there. Yeah, exactly. If you see, nobody blocks easier than Tim Kawakami that I'm aware of. All right. Well, I think we've covered it pretty well. You got your show tonight, right,
David? Yep. Corey Davis, 49er Wednesday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I believe that's 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time?
That's right. 3 hours difference. You got it. Yeah.
And then, you got your Central Time. It's 9. And the always forgotten time zone, Mountain Standard Time. That's where I'm at, folks. 8.
There you go. I won't do all the time zones, but I actually have a unusual show this week for me. I've got Anshul from 49ers Media. 49er Media. I keep forgetting which one he's on because for a while it was Anshul Shaw show, or the Shaw show. But no, he's back to 49er Media. And don't be surprised if we talk some Warriors too. I know he wanted to talk some about them a while back, and then I was on vacation and everything happened. So we might squeeze a little Warriors in there too, but it'll probably be mostly Niners. And that's 3:30 Pacific, 6:30 Eastern on Friday.
Ooh, Steve was asking a good question. Now,
and it's a good question. Yeah.
Jason, what's up, buddy?
NFL.
So who is this pretty Ricky cat?
Oh, he's just a guy with sources, and he just was nailing all these things before Schefter and Rapp were coming out, and Pelissero, all the big guys. He was just scooping everybody for the longest time. And then he said Brandon Ayuk's going to the Steelers, and then it looked like he wasn't going to go. And he's like, he got a lot of hate. People were like, "Oh, you were wrong," and everyone wanted to hate him because he's not one of the big guys, and people were starting to think he was better than them, because he had these sources. And then he said, "Oh, I'm retiring." But then he kind of said, "Well, at least if I ends up going to the Steelers, I'm going out like on a high note," kind of thing. But it sounds like he's still retiring. The wave of hate that he got for being wrong one time was more than he wanted to deal with. So just a guy with sauces. Supposedly, it seems like pretty legit sources because clearly the Steelers are in the mix. So.
Makes you wonder if he's a janitor, like, 49ers headquarters or something.
Oh, no, because it's a lot of other teams, too. It's not just Niners stuff. He's been scooping all around the league for, I want to say, like since the end of the season time frame. So not like that long, but long enough. I want to say, for those who know, please correct me. But what I'm thinking is like 2, 3, 4 big scoops before the big guys, and that's all it takes before going like, "Oh, where's Scott Berry? It seems like he knows his stuff," and so that's who he is. So thanks to everybody who tuned in. It was definitely hopping in the chat. We appreciate it. We got the Tennessee Titans on Saturday, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 Eastern. Don't expect to see a lot of starters. Don't expect to see any of the injured guys, Trent Williams, Ayuk. But still should be interesting just to kind of see where some of these younger players are and some of these newer players like Isaac Yiadom, Rock Yassin. George Odom actually played really well at camp today. He had an interception today, and he's been playing. He had another one back last week or 2 weeks ago when I was there on Thursday. I remember Grant saying like special teams player George Odom to kind of like knock him down, but he's been playing pretty well. Great. It's camp, so we'll see But
Yeah.
it'd be nice if you could keep that. Oh, also real quick, David Corona stopping by. Make sure you check him out.
What's up, buddy? He's just had back surgery, folks.
Yeah.
He's home recovering. Wish him luck. Send him prayers.
Yeah, speedy
he's a good
recovery,
guy.
David. I hope you're doing all right. Hope you had a good result and speedy recoveries. Yeah, he said he's okay, just hurt. Oh, good. Well, hopefully that's it, and you're back and strong and ready to go sooner rather than later. And yeah, thanks everybody for showing up today. I'll just say peace and go Niners.
Go Niners. As Corey Davis says, F all 31 other teams.